do that. Welcome to Retired for Life. I'm your host, Brian. I retired a few years ago after 30 years in a factory job as a machinist in a millwright. I needed to rediscover what life could really be like. When we purchased this property, the house had stood empty for over a year, and the property had been badly ravaged by poor logging practices. Since my retirement, I've been working to renovate the home and restore the surrounding forest to its natural beauty and attract wildlife back to the property. Join me as I learn about nature and working with wood to create the backdrop for this new chapter of our lives. Well, folks, I think it's finally time. I've got to get to work on these inside jobs. I've avoided it as long as I could with all sorts of other silly things I've come up with to keep myself busy to stay away from this, but I've got to get to it. I got to stop ducking it. So this is it. So this is where we left off quite some time ago. This is the lower entranceway to the house. Now I've repaired the walls, painted the walls, started some of the woodwork. Like the frame here around this window is roughed in. This has to be taken back out, sanded, that type of thing, then reinstalled and properly finished. Along with the shelf here, these steps need to be redone. I need to finish trimming out this door, and I need to finish trimming out or cleaning up the doorway that you guys are standing in. These steps have to come out and be replaced. I'm gonna make replacements for them. This door, this leads into, basically it's just a junk room in there. So a lot of stuff I need to haul to the dump and get rid of. Eventually it's gonna become an office, but for now it is just a junk room. But I wanna replace this door. This used to be an outside door. This area was at one point in time exposed to the outside. This was initially built as a greenhouse in here, but that's got to go. We're going to put a new door in. Now I have taken off the initial floor tiles that were on here, the really cheap floor tiles that were on here. They're all gone, but I need to smooth this out so I can put a new floor down in here. And it's got to be something that's going to stand up to the weather like nobody's business, because this is basically the mud room here. So the reason I've been putting it off, twofold. One, it's expensive. Replacing this door is not going to be cheap, and putting a new floor down is also not going to be cheap. So I've got to face up to spending the money on that and get those items so I can continue in here. And two, I don't like the inside work. I struggle with it, with the trim and that kind of thing. It's a real challenge for me. I have done very little of it, so I'm constantly learning as I go, which means it's really slow going. But before I go back outside, I am finishing this room one way or another. This room is going to be done. Door, floorboards, trim all finished. This removed, cleaned up, put back in, painted. It's all going to be done. Then I will allow myself to get back to the fun stuff, which is the outdoor stuff. So to get going on this, I need to do a shop cleanup. It's a bit of a mess out there, so we're going to get that done. And then we're going to start measuring up and finding the material that I need to finish trimming out this door and redo this piece that I put in here. I'm not very happy with it. So lots of stuff to do, and it's time to actually do it. All right, let's get to work. All right, first things first here, guys. Before we can really do anything productive out here, we need to get this mess cleaned up. So let's get that done. All right, folks, I think that's it. We are ready to actually start getting some work done in here. All right, so this shelf is our first target that I've got to take off. When I initially made this, I made a mistake with it. It should have come out farther because this actually works as a stop for the door. This is just in too far. So I need to make a piece. I need to either replace this board completely with one that's a little bit longer that I can get this right angle and length on, or add something to the end. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of adding something to the end of this, so I think what I'm going to do is take this board off, and we're going to go out to the shop, and I'm going to look for something that I can use to replace this with, because this board gives me the length that I need, and it gives me the angle and everything else, but I don't want this here. This just looks like crap. And I've got to get this done first in order to trim out this door, because the trim is going to come right down onto this plank here, and then we can do the door trim. All right, I got what I think is going to be the perfect piece. I won't need this little step at all because this is a nice thick board and it will be quite sufficient for the door stop. Well, I do have a bad spot there where it's actually rotten, but I can cut that off. And then I need 7 inches wide, which will allow me to actually cut this knot off as well. So this is a really good piece. All right, let's do that. Yeah, let's plane it flat first, and then we'll put the width in, just so it's not rocking on the saw. All right. It's not quite finished yet. We've still got a spot there, but it's more than good enough that we can now run it through the table saw and get our finished width before we finish the outside surfaces. So I want to take just a whisker off of this side. Looks good. Yeah, all right. Now we go for our finished width. Okay, we are to width. All right, let's go back to the planer now and finish this side off. All right, so I've got this board flipped upside down, my new board, and here is the old board. Now, neither end was straight, but I did have this extra piece that I screwed on here to kind of fill in the gap. So that actually allows me to put a line on there. So I'm far enough away from anything that could split or anything like that. All right, if I can cut those two angles, then I should be good. All right, so that's the angle that the door goes up against, and that end goes up to the wall. Now this pine, it is very well dried, so I shouldn't see much in the way of changes from it. All right, let's cut this and we'll take it in and see how it looks. All right, guys, let's see how well this fits. So I cut a little notch in here to make room for the edge frame of the door. Holy mackerel. Okay, so we need some fill in here. That will happen when we caulk it. Wow. All right. That's perfect there. It's good there. Well, it would be hard to be more pleased with that. That looks really good. So much better than having that big hump that was on the end, and it's flat all the way. Excellent. Good, good, good. Okay, we're going to call that piece done. I still have to do all the finish sanding on it and that type of thing, of course. But past that, that's good. So we're pretty much ready where we can start the door trim. So I've got to go and see if I can fish out some poplar for that. And I've got some 3-inch wide poplar, I think, that we're going to use to do this trim with. Well, I've come looking for some poplar trim to use around the door, and this is all poplar up here. We'll see if we can find a couple of reasonably clear pieces for this. Well, there's one that will work for the small piece. That one's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. These were pretty rough cut when I did cut them, so I'll have to, there's a fair bit of difference in thickness. So I have to plane them down and then straighten this one. It's not very straight. All right, I think we've got something to work with. All right, there's my top piece. Okay, there's my side piece. Let's get these trimmed up to width. So my short piece here is pretty crooked. So I'm going to use my jointer fixture here to straighten it out. Let's see what we got. All right, that should give us a nice straight edge. All right, there's our top piece. Now we'll do the same with the side piece. Okay, there is our two door trim pieces. Now we have to go in and fit them and get the finished length. Yeah, that's going to cover the gap down there that I had to cut for the little step out. That will work very nicely. So from our top edge, I want this to overhang by an inch. So from there, we are going to want 4 inches. So I've got 33 and a quarter, so 37 and a quarter. once I cut that bit off the end there. All right, guys, let's see if we can get an idea of what this is going to look like. All right, I think that's going to look good. So I got to take these out and sand them now and get ready for priming and painting. So I'm going to need to set up a station inside here for my painting. Now, these walls are so crooked. They're just, everything weaves and bends all over the place. So I'll have to do a little bit of shimming in behind to get everything flat, and that's fine, we can do that. But yeah, that's good. All right, that's got those two pieces done, and that has got this shelf done. So I need a brad nailer. I think I'm gonna have to buy a brad nailer. So next step is to set up my painting area so I can start painting these things. And once I've got them primed and painted, then I can get these items installed. And then after they're installed, I want to come back to this window because nothing is really fastened permanently in here. I think there's just one screw that's holding this down. So all this frame has to come down and has to be sanded, primed and painted, and then reinstalled. Once it's reinstalled, then I'll do the caulking and fill the holes and that kind of thing, sand it, and give it another coat of paint. So that's the next step. All right, so thanks for coming along, folks. We will continue this on the next video. So if you've got any thoughts, suggestions, anything like that, I'd love to hear from you, because as I've said, I am so much a novice at this kind of stuff and I don't like doing it. But we're going to get it. I'm going to learn how to do it with your help. If you've got some suggestions for me, I appreciate it. So for now, remember to stay safe out there, be good to each other, and we will see you out on the trails the next time.